Everyone, this is a THERMS screencast. We're going to be covering a brief video on reports and how they're used. So we're going to get logged in here. I'm logging in as an administrator, and this person has supervisor and administrator privileges. So here we go. I'm just going to give a quick video on the reports. The last video recorded was around 30 minutes long, and it covered static, dedicated security, and vehicle patrol. I'm going to buzz through this quickly just to make it easier on people that don't want to watch a long video. So here's our dashboard. Let's say I'm arriving for a shift to work at a location, and let's go to our locations here. Let's say I'm working at Cascade Shopping Center. Let's see what our post orders are for this location. Patrol location perimeter, check all gates and doors, and ensure everything is safe. We've got the gate code, contact manager in case of emergency. Shift schedule. So 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. So that's our shift. All right, great. I'm going to see if there's any bolos for the location before I start my report. Let's say I'm just arriving on site. No bolos. Great. Let's see if there's any recent ones that expired. Oh, there is. Dangerous dog, some gang activity. Those are past bolos. They've expired. Useful information though. All right. So I'm going to go in here to reports. I'm going to get started. I'm going to create a new report for this location for my shift. And there it is now. I can click this build report button. Go here. It takes me straight to the report. So a report number is automatically populated. This is created every time you generate a new report, and that's a unique number for your company to use to look up reports. Here's the location name, location date of the report. This is going to be automatically generated. Today is the 13th that I'm creating this video, so it's automatically going to be the 13th. Now, just a quick overview of how the date works on reports. If I create an entry and I change this date to the 12th for this entry, and I save it, you'll notice this up here will change to the 12th as soon as I save this. And the reason that happens is because the report automatically sets the date to the earliest date of any of the report entries for the report. So if I add another report entry quickly here, and I go and I make this one the 11th, the report date is now going to change to 11th because that's the earliest date of a report entry. Now, if you want to manually override this and change it, I can edit the date. And as soon as I edit this date and I set it to whatever I want it to be, once I save that date, it will not automatically update anymore. So those are two different ways how you guys can use, depending on your organization's policies and how they handle their dates. Typically, you want the dates. There's nothing that you need to adjust with them. But if you are starting a shift on the 12th and it goes overnight and it gets off at 2 in the morning, the report date should be the 12th. So that's why it automatically sets it to the earliest date time. All right, so we're going to jump right into it here. We notice that we have some special duties for the location that we have to complete here, and this says lock parking lot gates. Let's click the details and read about that. Close and lock gates after 12 a.m. midnight Monday through Friday. Well, we're working the day shift, so this doesn't apply to us. But if it did, we would simply hit complete, and we would add some notes and the time that we completed this duty. And so again, that doesn't apply to us because we're pretending we're working the day shift today. That's how you would do that though if you had duties that were assigned to the location. You can see the duties for the location. I'll click on the location name up here, and then I'll go into service and duties for the location. These green boxes with the check mark, those are duties, and these are just services or more information. So anything in green under the location is a duty, and anything that's green under the location that's a duty will show up in any of the reports being completed. So that's useful information just to remind security officers and guards that are working at a location if they have anything to do. So if I did complete this now, let's just do a quick example. I'll put some notes in here. The notes are optional. I save it. It's going to add it to my log down here. So it puts it in as if it was a report entry vehicle or dispatch. So that's how that looks. And this information gets sent to any of the subscribers for the location, which is useful for them. So, all right, let's get right into this. Your report log buttons may look different. Your organization may not provide vehicle patrol, so they may not have a vehicle patrol button. They may also not have a dispatch entry button because they don't have dispatch services. So we won't cover those. We'll do that in the second half in case you're interested in watching about how those are used. So right off the bat, we want to say we arrived at 10 a.m. here. I'm going to go in, I'm going to click on the clock. I can click the arrow down, do this here, and it saves it. So we arrived at 10 a.m. Some organizations like to just put information only if there is no activity type. Activity types are used to categorize reports. So let's say that there was an alarm going off, or there was assault, or many other activity types in here that categorize disturbance, residential, whatever I put in here. It makes this report searchable under those activity types. That's very useful for management and property managers to find out what kind of activity types they've been had at their location in the past. So we're just going to go ahead and enter some text here for arriving on the property. Arrived to our shift. Began performing duties. And now your organization is going to have a different report writing policy and what kind of details you put in here. So I'm just going to be brief for the sake of brevity. And we're going to save that. And there we go. There's our first report entry for this shift. And so the THERMS recommendation is to add a report entry for every hour of your shift. If you're working a standing, dedicated, or static security shift, every organization might call it something different. So basically a dedicated shift. Your security officer that's set to work for X number of hours at a location and you don't leave there. So static, dedicated, or standing. So it's coming on to 12 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and add our, 11 a.m. We're going to add our 11 a.m. entry. And we're going to put in our report entry what we did for this hour, for 11 to 12, because we put this 10 a.m. and we can assume this goes 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So we're going to say this is the 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. shift. Continued foot patrol on the property. Bad spelling today. And whatever you did during that time. So there we go. Now we've got a 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. entry, and so hourly entries. You'll notice up here that we have this icon that changes it from ascending to descending order. And that would, if you notice, the top one is 11 a.m. If I click this, it changes it. So the 11 a.m. is down at the bottom. So it will change the sort order of your report entries, and that's helpful if you so you don't have to scroll down to the bottom. People have different preferences on how they use that. I prefer the most recent entry at the top, so I leave it like that, and it will save it for every user, how you set that. So we're moving on. It's now going to be 12. So I have some choices here. I can manually enter this 12. If you're on a mobile phone, it's easier to just use the buttons. But if you're on a keyboard, you can manually type it in on a computer. So I can do it like that, or I can click on the buttons over here and do them this way. So no activity. And again, this would be the entries for what you performed during this hour. Now, this shift, I think it was from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. or 4 p.m., 6. So this is a static shift, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 p.m. This is noon, lunchtime around. And so let's say that we're